Welcome back to A Slice of News, where I cut you off a slice of news. YouTube has agreed to pay $24.5 million to President Trump in an effort to resolve a 2021 lawsuit that claimed he was the victim of censorship when they suspended his account following the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol by his supporters, according to the federal court papers that they filed. As if that was somehow not bad enough. They said that $22 million of that settlement is going to go towards construction of President's $200 million ballroom that he's building at the White House. Google has become just the latest in a growing list of tech companies who, when facing litigation with the president over actions they took against him following the January 6 riots that he called censorship, Facebook or Meta paid him $25 million over Facebook and Instagram's suspension of him. X or Twitter paid him $10 million over the same thing. So tech giant Google is just the latest big tech company to bend the knee to the God Emperor Trump. They don't want to have to deal with him in court, so they just throw money at him to get him to leave them alone. And I guess to some degree I get it. Money is really the only language this man understands. That and suing people. So I guess suing people and money. So it's just easier for these tech companies to just give money, and that way he will drop everything and leave them be. I super don't agree with them doing it, but I suppose I kind of get it. Either spend a bunch of money in legal costs defending themselves in court against this guy, or just pay him off and it just be a one-time thing and they can be left to do their tech business unbothered by him and not having to go into court. But the thing is, these were winnable cases. He did not have any solid legal claims here. The First Amendment protects individuals and companies from being censored by the government, not the other way around. Companies are not bound by that. They can decide for themselves based on their own set of rules and guidelines for what is and isn't allowed on their platform. And if they decide independently that the stuff that he's putting out is against their terms of service and their rules, they are within their rights to shut down those accounts, which is what we saw them do. So instead of fighting the suits and possibly winning, because like I said, he doesn't really have any legal claims there, they just get on their knees for him and say, yes, Daddy Trump, here's some money, please don't be mad at us anymore. And I want to say this is setting a bad precedent for just paying him off to get him in your good graces, but the precedent is set. We already have the Meta case being settled with money, the Twitter case being settled with money, and now the YouTube being settled with money. A payoff. It's really just a payoff, like you're paying off an organized criminal to not hurt your business. Here's some money. It's a protection money, really. At the same time, I guess it was somewhat naive to think that the tech giants were going to worry about what was right and what would be setting a bad precedent. And really, it's all about the money. They don't want him to besmirch their name with a suit, headlines about President of the United States Trump sues this company for taking away his account that was spouting misinformation and lies about January 6th. So instead of standing their ground and fighting and winning, probably they would have won. There is no question of could he possibly have won the case. He did not have standing. He can't claim First Amendment because this is not a government agency, it's a private company. And so by being a private company, they can do things based on their own privately established content rules, and taking his account away is not censorship in that way. But it was easier to coddle his baby ego and say, okay, you're right, we were wrong, you were right, here's some money, let's make it go away. I suppose in retrospect, the idea of someone like Mark Zuckerberg or Google being the heroes in this story was probably never going to happen. And ultimately everything was just going to be about protecting their business and their money. And the idea of throwing an amount of money at him to make this go away is easier than a protracted legal battle to make it go away, even if it would have meant proving him wrong in court. But I guess the conclave of tech bros that were at his inauguration was probably a sign that they were going to be on his side when it really came down to it. So this outcome is probably not all that surprising when you think about it. With social media being a lot of people's main form of communication and expression, it's concerning to see so many social media companies bending the knee to the president and basically saying, oh, we're sorry that we didn't let you spread a bunch of lies and nonsense on our platforms. Here's some money, please. No hard feelings, Mr. President. Because in the future, when he says more nonsense on these platforms and his supporters say nonsense on these platforms, we know now that they're not going to be contested because they've already paid him off to make his frivolous lawsuits go away. And it would not shock me if that was the plan all along, that he knew that he did not have any real legal standing to make these cases. So if he just put out the suits and said, I'm suing you for taking away my accounts, that they would just pay him off to make the suits disappear, and he would get what he wanted, and he would get money. Obviously, I could never prove this. It's just a hunch, but it really sounds like the kind of thing he would do. Aren't I a clever businessman? I'm so smart. I'm the master chess man. When extorting a bunch of multi-billion-dollar companies is not exactly genius-level crime. So if the social medias are all basically in the pocket of the president, and he can pretty much be sure that they are going to think twice when shutting down lies and misinformation that either he or his followers put out, it's not only setting up an environment where they don't have to fear their misinformation being taken down, rightfully taken down, mind you, but also that those on the left who are either going to have their own messages or counteract the misinformation from the right are likely going to have their voices quietly put down. It's not overt media control. It's more subtle than that. With the forthcoming sale of TikTok to a consortium of U.S. investors, including Larry Ellison, we see all the big social media platforms capitulating to the president and likely not stepping in when they should, when people on their apps are going to be putting out things that are simply untrue, misinformation, which will likely serve to help Republicans in upcoming elections if we even have any to look forward to, and the authoritarian power grab isn't complete and we just have Emperor Trump for the foreseeable future. YouTube recently reinstated a bunch of accounts they had banned for spreading COVID-19 misinformation, election-related misinformation, and now all these people are going to get their platforms back so they could just spout even more misinformation and be completely unchecked. It's weird. Well, not really weird. It's sad to see all these tech companies that were so proud and defensive of what they saw as their right to self-regulate the speech on their own platform. So how they went from, we'll police ourselves and the speech that we allow or don't allow on our platforms to, we're sorry we took away your accounts for spreading misinformation, here are your accounts back. I want to say we should expect more from these companies, for them to stand up for the truth, really. When you get down to it, this is just about stopping people from lying to people who do not know better and take their lies as truth because they are a trusted source for them. It's basically legitimizing manipulations, allowing people who know that they are saying things that are false a platform to propagate those falsehoods into the minds of ignorant people who do not have the critical thinking skills to differentiate fact from invented reality. I guess expecting the tech guys to do anything that would be charitably labeled as the right thing was expecting too much, but I'm still disappointed, and I'm concerned about what our future will be now that most of the tech companies seem to be fine with whatever nonsense the president puts out as long as he doesn't sue them for it. And this latest thing with the YouTube, with Google, is that you can't really boycott Google. They've got a monopoly. They're so deeply ingrained in our tech infrastructure that you can't really go without Google. They're part of everything. YouTube, you can't stop using YouTube. What's the alternative? They monopolized it so that there is no alternative to YouTube. So you're stuck with them. And most infuriatingly of all, they know that. That was the plan all along. I desperately want to keep a positive outlook on all this, but I am really getting to a point where I do not know a positive spin to this. I don't know where all of this is leading, but it really doesn't feel like it's anywhere good. I don't want to end the episode on a downer note, but that's just where we are. Things don't look good, and I do not know where the light at the end of this tunnel is. I want to believe there is one, but I don't know. I just don't know. So that is where I will leave you for this episode of A Slice of News. I have been your host, Mr. Slice, and until next time when I cut you off another slice of news.